watchers, welcome to Perth Watch, your horology channel broadcasting from right here in Perth, Western Australia. Today I have the pleasure to feature the latest piece from CIGA Design, a company which I've really been enjoying watching their progress and the designs that they have really innovated and come up with. I haven't reviewed all of their pieces, but I've certainly featured a few of them on this channel. They started with that square skeleton design type of watch, which was I think pretty cool. They've since had several other designs. They had a MY series, they had a Z series, they had I think a T series, which was a transparent one, and then the maybe not as good J series, and they do seem to be going great guns on continuing to put out interesting stuff. So today I have their latest piece. It comes in their typical cardboard box, but pretty interesting and original type of packaging that they do provide their watches in. So guys, without further ado, let's flip it around and take a closer look at what's in here. Alright guys, so here we have the rather nice packaging on the table. Look at that relief of the watch with the movement, or I guess the case with the skeleton movement in relief there. It's really quite well done, even though it is really just cardboard in a CIGA design in silver there. Alright, so spinability, that's right, let's have a look. So these actually are not too bad. They're at least a 3.5. There's a bit of friction between the case and the table, so it's not supreme by any means. Alright, so let's just check out the casing on the inside here, which is like a book design with the printing. I really, really like how they do it. It has a nice feel to it overall, and then you can see, the awards that they've won, mainly red dot stuff, and then, a little window, just a little peek of the movement, and then this is how it looks like. So let's just show you, what some of the specs and the descriptions are. You can pause that and read that if you want. And then that's the actual watch with a bit of basic instructions there. And you turn the page for more. So let's just get that out. Now, there is a very, I guess, basic NATO style strap with quick release, right? That's the second strap option. Now, this isn't fantastic. I don't really enjoy this very much. It does have CIGA design on brush metal there. Now, I don't really use this very much, so you might use it, but that's not something I've chosen to use, and I'm not going to really mention that much more than that. This is really the feature strap, and you can see it's not new anymore because I have been using it in real life. This is how much I've enjoyed this watch. All right, so let's just put it together. So that's the top of the watch. So you're going to put the straps at the back here. Just going to do it in real life. Yep, just to show you how I guess practically easy these really are to fit in, and that's it, right? And then just to show you, the back page has some instructions. Okay, so you can obviously pause that and read that if you want. Just some basic instructions on how to set the time, straps, quick release operation, and all that. Okay. All right, so guys, let's show you the watch in closer detail here. So what we have here is the CIGA Design X Series automatic. They call it the Great Ape. That's kind of the nickname. I'm not sure what that is supposed to refer to, because I'm not sure about any SUV that is named Great Ape, and that's head of a gorilla there. But that's really what they've called it. So that's what I'm telling you guys. The Indiegogo link down the bottom, this is where they've launched it, and all product links which I can find down the bottom, that I can share with you guys. There is a super early bird price, which is a $349 USD. That may in fact no longer be available, but that's what it was going to go for. And then early bird and later pricing would be slightly higher than that. Overall, this design is ostensibly inspired by premium SUV suspension engineering. That's what they've said. So kind of the X, I guess you can say that's a SUV or I guess a cross motocross design, maybe suspending the movement in the middle of the case there, and then to show you there is suspension, right? Look, as I push the middle of the case around the square outer frame, you can see that those red suspensions in the corner come down, and it kind of goes up as well. So that's kind of cool. That's really the watch in the middle is suspended in the middle of the case there. All right, let's talk as I usually do now about the movement. And the movement in here, I'm going to hold it upside down so you can see, the escapement beating away. The movement in here, as far as I gather, is a custom Sea-Gull. I think the base is a ST2553JK, but that's not able to be confirmed, or at least I wasn't able to confirm that. It is, of course, highly modified with those unique X-shaped bridges. That's really what they've done, kind of extensively to modify this movement. Stats down the left of screen there, 25 joules you can see there, and it's rated at 40 hours on the reserve. The accuracy rating is -15 to +30 seconds per day. As far as I gather, in actual use, this is pretty darn good, I have to say. +5 seconds per day is what this has been running for me when I've timed this over, about 2 weeks actually I've been wearing this. Okay, so that's the movement. Let's go back and talk about the case here. So what we have here is a 45.5 millimeter square. This is what it is if you measure it, at the width. So between my thumb and my forefinger there, right? That is 45.5 millimeters square, and that means that this dimension here between my two forefingers is the same as 45.5. 316L steel in this case. It does also come in titanium, but this is kind of the matte steel version. The inside square, right? So the inside square, I guess between my thumbs there, if you measure there, the part that moves, in suspension is 38 millimeters. If you measure the inside edge of this square, like between this part here, it's actually 34.5 millimeters, right? So just let you know kind of the feel of the dimensions of this watch. Overall, despite all that engineering, they've actually managed to keep it to 12 millimeters in thickness, which is pretty darn good. I really like that they've kept it to that. The lug width on this watch is 22 millimeters, and the lug to lug distance, so minimal lugs, right? They barely stick out there between my thumbs there, 48 millimeters on this watch. The weight here with rubber strap, very similar with the the NATO style, is 98 grams on the wrist. The titanium version, I think, is 70 something grams overall. So of course it's going to be substantially lighter. In terms of the construction, of course, you've seen me highlight that there is an outer frame with 4 suspension points holding the inner case there. So again, I'll show you, right? There's suspension there, and if I push downwards, you can see the red springs. Right, particularly, so this one, you can see the red spring there in that corner there. So pretty cool kind of design. Does it actually serve anything? Will this help the watch survive an earthquake? Don't know. Probably not. It's probably just kind of a gimmick, but nonetheless, it's a pretty cool gimmick, I think. Predominantly bead blasted matte finishing on this case here. It does have polished bevels, so hopefully you can see there's a polished bevel on that top edge of the inner case, as well as the top edge of the outer frame there. And the bottom edge of the outer frame is also a polished bevel there. Okay. The display back is screw secured. So, secured by these 8 very small screws on the side there. So you're not going to have a screw down case back for a square case. It has a push signed composite crown, and this is pretty cool because it's got the inner red PVD, right? You can see it shining through the kind of the grip there, followed by an outer steel ring around the crown. So that's pretty cool. It's just a push crown. It winds here in the 0 position, and hopefully you can see. Can you see it? Maybe at the back. Let's have a look. There you go. You can see the mechanism winding the mainspring at the top of the movement there. Okay, so winds in the 0 position, and you adjust the time by pulling it out 1 stop, and that's how you adjust the time right there. Right, very simple. Nothing much more to the operation here because it's not a date movement. Of course, with that push crown, with the screw construction, it's only rated at 30 meters for water resistance, and I don't mind that. Right, a watch like this, I would be very surprised if they can do it much more than about 50 meters. It's not going to be something that you're going to take swimming with this construction, and with a push crown. 30 meters is fine for me. That's just for washing your hands and not much more. All right, so moving on to the dial now, which has a lot of the action here. So it's a matte finish skeleton dial, so matte finish bridges here with indices which are built into the bezel. So there's no indices under the glass there that you can see. It is actually built into the bezel, and hopefully you can see in the bezel position. So I'll kind of have to show you live here. There's 1 o'clock, right? 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, of course, it's just there. 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, of course, there. All right, so and it goes all the way around. So that's kind of pretty smart little design there. Again, they've chosen not to kind of mar the appearance of the X there. They've kind of put it right on the periphery. There is no chapter ring, of course. This is not a watch that you're going to be kind of looking at for precise timing by any means. All right, so back to the description of the dial. Otherwise, right, you have partially skeletonized polished baton hands. It does have red tips and a red stick with a bit of a counterbalance for the second hand. There is no lume on this steel version, right? The other versions do have some lume on the hands and other parts of the watch, but the plain steel version actually is not lumed. Do I mind that? Well, I think it would be nice if they lumed the tips, but they haven't. That's what you have to put up with for this particular model. So on top of the movement and the dial is a flat square sapphire crystal. So it's pretty flat, and so is the bottom there. All right. Okay, moving on to the straps now. So the strap here, you've seen it, right? Not completely new. It's got some dirt on it already. Is a silicone rubber. It's pretty nice silicone rubber. This pattern, if this watch is supposed to be an SUV, I would guess that this might be a tire tread kind of inspired pattern. That's what I like to think of it as. Whatever it is, it's unique. I've never seen something like this before. It does have a matte steel buckle with CIGA Design, on the branding there on the edge there. That's what you're having here. And it's got quick release bars, which you've seen me operate. And again, last time I mentioned this, there is the NATO strap option. I'm not even going to show you this on the watch because I don't think this is the main thing. This is just an additional bonus. All right, so let's just strap it on the wrist for a wrist shot now. So there you go, guys. The CIGA Design X Series Great 8 Automatic on my 17cm wrist. Large watch, of course, but because the lugs are almost non-existent, it still sits within my wrist width here. It doesn't overhang my wrist too much despite its size. 12mm thickness, so not too big, and that's how it looks like on that silicone rubber strap. Okay, there on the side, and that's how it would look like on a wrist if you have a similar wrist to me. Obviously, if you have a larger wrist, it probably will sit a little bit more proportionally for you. All right, so that's the watch, guys. That's my entire description. What have I liked about this? Well, look, I think it is another very cool package from CIGA Design. The most conversation starting piece from them so far. I do get quite a lot of people looking at it. It's square, which is unusual. And then you see this face and a lot of people will kind of look at it and go, that's interesting. What is that you got on your wrist? And I've enjoyed having conversations about this particular watch. I think it is an attractive, well-finished, unique design square case. Unique because of the outer frame. That's something I've never seen before in this form. A fairly nicely done skeleton dial. I really do enjoy the skeleton dials they have done. Usually I don't like skeleton, but this, the CIGA Design ones I can live with very easily. It's got that custom Sea-Gull movement, which so far in all the CIGA Design ones have been running like clockwork. They really do run very well and they keep time well. You're getting sapphire crystal on this and a pretty nifty design on the strap as well. I do quite like this strap. What are the weaknesses? Really, I don't have much to criticize. It is what it is, and it is something very different. I will say, however, these strap holes, you can see, there's two close together, and then there's a gap, and then there's another two close together. That's really what you're using for the strap holes. So if you do happen to fit between one of these, you may find the watch is going to be either too tight or too loose on this particular strap. Okay, that's what you're going to have to accept on a strap like that. They haven't really designed this for fine fitting, I have to say. So that's a little bit lacking. I think the NATO is average, and I imagine that most people won't be using that. They will be using this one. And then lastly, as with other skeleton design CIGA watches, this isn't a watch to tell the time easily. You're not going to glance at this and get the time. You have to spend some time looking at it and hopefully admiring that skeleton dial to get the time, because it's not entirely, super visible, even though it's got the red tips for the hour and minute hands. That's what I've heard from other people as well, and this is what I find myself. Okay, so guys, that's my thoughts on this pretty cool watch. Let's flip the camera around now for the wrap up. So there you go, guys, my review of the CIGA Design X Series Great Ape Automatic. Let me know your thoughts about this piece below. I think they've really gone from strength to strength, and I'm really enjoying a lot of what they put out, and certainly this latest design is no different to some of the others. It is a very interesting piece, which I have really quite like on the wrist, for the last 2 weeks that I've had it. So would love to hear, your thoughts and opinions about this piece, particularly if you've jumped ahead and gotten this on pre-order through, I think Indiegogo is where they are launching it. Guys, if you enjoy my videos, do consider subscribing. New content every week, always aiming to be objective and unbiased about all things horology. Thank you again for sticking with me, and as always, I'll catch you guys again next time.